Actors and 3 episodes. How do you start this project? How to find your protagonists?
First of all, it's mission impossible. I would like to say that our third director is hidden somewhere here, but he's too shy to come down even. How we found our protagonist, it's a question for Pavel, because he was first who found the protagonist.
Teda prvý z našich Zamatových teroristov bol nájdený v takých maličkých novinách.
The first terrorist was found in a small journal.
V malom meste a z toho sa odvíjali ďalší, ktorí s ním sedeli v väzení.
And this journal was in a small town, and he was in prison with the 2 others, so that's how we found him.
Ako keby príbeh sa režíne začalo odohrávať ešte niekde na filmovej škole.
Directorial wise, we already started talking about the project at the university while being at film school.
A tak sme sa postupne lepili na seba, sme sa dolepili do tejto podoby.
And then we were kind of accumulating, and then we accumulated into this form.
And how did you share the work later? Each one has this episode, and finally they got together the 3 stories, but how was the practical work in this time of shooting?
First of all, it was very not practical. We did all the 3 stories we did together, which I think is exceptionally in the history of cinematography. I don't think it will be possible again. And every types of communication and cooperation you can imagine between 3 people, it was there. But finally the movie is here, so it's fine.
Are there any questions from your side? From the others. Wait for the microphone, please.
Okay. First of all, I really enjoyed the film. I found it extremely fascinating, and I have a very special question as a historian. I'm very interested in that time too, and I would like to know if you had access to the state security files and court records, which of course would interest me as a historian working on that subject.
Yes, we had, and it was terrible and very boring work, because they have everything in several copies, so you don't, and you're just reading the text files, so and you don't know where you can find really something interesting, but basically just the rewriting and rewriting and rewriting the same story again and again. So it was something like thousands of pages. And some of them, they were really interesting, especially, well, it's not in the movie, but especially from the investigation, from the second story. Because they really couldn't find the guy, they didn't know who sent the bomb, and it took 2 years. And it's for a book itself, it's really very interesting.
Ešte možno z tej dokumentácie, že boli také inšpiratívne, vlastne policajti robia stále takú fotodokumentáciu z miesta činu.
The policemen usually do like photo documents from the crime scenes.
A vlastne na ňu, keď sme sa pozerali, ako keby sme už mali hotové scény niektoré.
So that was very inspirational to us, because when we looked at it, we already saw scenes in the movie.
Ako keby na tých fotografiách máte takú policajnú vizualitu a vlastne nám sa to relatívne hodilo.
There's a certain police-like visuality in the photos, so that's what was interesting to us.
Takže napríklad, keď ste videli vo filme Výbuchy stromov,
when there were the explosions of the trees,
tak to bola obľúbená kratochvíľa Stana Kratochvíľa.
There was a favorite hobby of Stano, Kratochvíľa,
ktorý na stromoch skúšal ako keby sílu jednotlivých výbušnín, aby bol pripravený na tú prvomajovú tribúnu.
Who was testing his explosions on the trees for the final 1st May Day terrorist attack for the Tribune. So the trees were the test.
A ďalšia scéna, vlastne, ktorú ste videli, taká tá figurina z obchodu, čo tam stála a pri nej bol písací stroj a všetko to vybuchlo, tak to je jednak jednej identický prepis materiálu z EŠTB.
So there was also a scene where there was the big mummy, the big puppet, which when it exploded, it was also from the police records. Dummy, I meant. Yeah, the mummy and the puppet dummy.
Well, thank you very much for the movie. I'm from Slovakia, so it was really interesting to see, let's say, part of our history, which I guess majority of the population is not really aware of. So my question is, so you went through these official documents and etc. So how many people like these were there out there actually? Because these are like, we can call it small acts of terrorism, but it was completely hidden from the population. We are not aware of that there was actually this kind of resistance on a small local scale.
As far as I know, in Czechoslovakia in the 70s and 80s, there were only these 3 people arrested because of the paragraph 93 terror. So basically,
so you took everybody.
We took everybody. We had no chance to change our protagonists. So take it or leave it. That also.
Still, I really enjoyed it.
Ja. In der Mitte ist ein.
Hello.
Das ist ja nichts, dann nehmen wir erst den kleinen.
Thanks, great movie. I was asking myself, did you talk to them where they learned how to build the bombs? Because are they chemists, or where did you get the knowledge back then before there was internet?
Všetci traja z týchto ľudí
All these 3 people.
Majú veľkú záľubu v zbraniach. Stano Kratochvíľ napríklad bol niekoľkokrát stíhaný za nedovolené ozbrojovanie.
All these 3 people really like guns, and Stano was actually charged with several times with holding illegally holding of the guns of weapons.
A ako keby k výbušninám sa zo socializmu dalo dostať aj tak kurióznym spôsobom, ako že napríklad do vojenskej jednotky ste donesli basu piva a odnesli ste si 3 to.
So during communist times you could also get to explosives pretty easily, and that happened when you, for instance, went to the like an army unit and you brought a big several bottles of beer, and then you took Trito.
Stala sa nám ešte, keď si spomínam na tú dokumentáciu, jedna zaujímavá vec. Bola tam schéma bomby, ktorú poslal Fero okresnému tajomníkovi strany.
There was I remember there was a scheme of a bomb which was sent to Fero sent so Fero sent so the scheme was sent to the So we went to this shop where you can buy things for like radio and etc. and some mechanics, and we put the scheme there, and then we just waited what they come up with.
A ten chlapík chytil papier a vlastne podľa schémy išiel, tu máme rezistor, tu je tranzistor. A naraz sa na to pozeral a povedal, a čo to má byť? A my sme hovorili, že to je schéma na bombu. A on hovorí, chalani, to sa dneska už robí ináč.
So he took the scheme, the shop assistant took the scheme and went to the store and took the resistor, etc. And then he was like, so what is happening? What are you going to build with this? And they said, yeah, we're going to build a bomb. And he says, well, nowadays you just build a bomb differently. This is an old thing that you're doing.
Dneska stačia už len 2 mobilné telefóny, aby ste boli v obraze.
Nowadays, 2 cellular phones are enough to build a bomb.
I'm actually a bit confused about this kind of, it's a documentary, but it also has very private parts and some parts of reenactment. So are these actors that we see, or the real terrorists?
These are 3 real people, and when we were doing the script, so it was based on their everyday life, which is captured absolutely realistically, and on their retelling the past. So they said us what they were doing in the past, and we filmed it. We heard this question several times, and the people think that it's a fiction because it has a very high cinematographic level. But basically, this is one of the most real documentary films around, because we were filming it like a nature documentary. Like an observation nature documentary. We put the camera on and we're waiting what will happen. It's basically a question of our patience of our crew. For example, the lie detector scene, we're filming it about 5 hours. You know, and there were plenty of things that are not in the movie. So we light it, we set up the scene. So the protagonists knew that there are some borders, they cannot move freely. But inside this cage, what we made out of the lights and camera and everything, they were absolutely free. We were just waiting. And from this we got really wonderful moments.
Yes, any question? The microphone, please.
Hello. I wanted to ask you about the sound of the film. The sound concept, because I feel it's very strong, sometimes stronger than the image, than the cinematography. And I wanted to ask you what was the concept for it and how did you choose the music and the sound?
Maybe you're implying, or you're implying about the sound that when we saw the explosives, there was only like a cling, not the explosion. Yeah? Yes.
Ak áno, tak vlastne to cinknutie je vlastne zvuk, ktorý ako jediný počujete asi týždeň, keď pri vás veľmi blízko niečo vybuchne.
And this cling is actually what you hear when an explosion explodes right next to your ear, and that's what you hear for 1 week in a hospital.
Pretože to sa mi stalo, keď sme likvidovali na poslednej scény, ktorú ste videli, romantická scéna pri jazierku, tak tam nám jedna náložne vybuchla a vlastne keď sme ju likvidovali, tak vybuchla pri mne a a skončil som týždeň na iske.
And so that's actually what happened to me, because during one of the last scenes in the movie, the scene at the lake, we had to destroy, like demontage a bomb that didn't explode, because it didn't explode, and while we were demontaging it, it exploded. So I ended up at the ICU for a week.
That's why we were free directors.
A stala sa ešte jedna taká zaujímavá vec pri tých výbuchoch, že aj keď máte profesionálneho pyrotechnika, nezaručuje to, že sa zosynchronizuje s vašimi filmárskymi povahami.
And so what happens also during scenes like this is that although if you have really the like explosion specialists, pyrotechnics, technicians, sometimes you don't really synchronize the orders.
A vlastne pri scéne, kde je policajná rekonštrukcia, kde vybuchuje pri figuríne bomba, tak ten pyrotechnik ju odpálil na povrch kamera. Ale povrch kamera znamenal, že sa púšťa kamera, čiže vlastne odpálil to pri mne, keď som stlačal kombík.
So, and basically what happened was during one scene when we were exploding the dummy, when I said
Tesco version of Leon the Professional, you know, like nobody will believe us that it's real. But we came to Vladimir and he opened us the door, and he was in apron, and he was just cleaning a flower at his home, which some of you maybe know this is one of the opening scenes of Leon the Professional. So I apologized to Ivan and built the film as he invented. So we found a girl, but it's not an actress. We were searching somebody who is a personality, not an actor, and who really want to take the risk and who really want to take all this training. And also somebody who is stubborn enough not to listen our orders and to have own questions. And that was Eva, absolutely perfectly. Like, she was really interested, and well, it's like you saw basically in the movie.
So that means you try to work with the family members or the real people around your protagonist, and if this doesn't work, you pick up somebody else. That's right? Okay.
Any more questions from your side? Still a bit with the lights, I'm sorry.
So to come back to the third story, so what about the casting scene where Eva and some other women were sort of like auditioning for Vladimir? Was that real too, or was that just a device you used to introduce Eva?
We filmed this, to be honest, we filmed this casting like it was one of the last shooting days because we needed to have it somehow in context, that's where she came out from. But it was also an interesting experience because we didn't say that it's a fake casting, so we wanted girls and we were asking them what they want to do and why, and it was also an interesting moment of the filmmaking.
I would like to ask something about your photographer. Basically, I came to see this film because I saw that it was Martin Koller. Is this the documentary photographer from Czech Republic, the European famous documentary photographer? I think the photography was excellent. You could see that the photographer had its own style. So how did you come to work with him, if this was the photographer?
Yes, it was Martin Koller. It is Martin Koller, and it was very easy to ask him to work on this movie because he was working on my previous 5 movies. So it was easy.
Ahojte, zdravím, som sa považovala zase. And I just have one question. How come the 3 Nova terrorists aren't here when they were arrested at the airport for carrying guns and bombs? How come they are not here?
They have a lot of work, and Fero candidates in the European is a candidate to European Parliament. So it's a very handy match.
Každý z nich to
And each one of them is
So too busy even for the Berlinale.
nemajú na to čas na zábavu.
I see. To go for school, yeah.
they don't have time for having just fun.
So, congratulations, outstanding photography and music. 3 stories merged perfectly. My question is more about the funding and grants. Did you get the grants from basically encounter any difficulties due to the fact that maybe some of the kind of like the stories is talks about terrorist acts? It kind of encourages, although from a witty point of view, like completely, I mean, nice, like, would you advise to like not do it, or maybe change the script and we will fund you, or something like that? That's the question.
Thank you. It was pretty standard, I must tell. We applied for the Slovak Audiovisual Film Fund, and we got part of the funding from them, part of the funding from Slovak Television, part of the funding from Czech Audiovisual Film Fund, and Czech Television. Czech Television is a very good supporter of very generous supporter of our films. The topic was basically never a question, because they know that how we are going to make it, so, and also they know our previous movies. What was a very nice surprise that we got the nice funding from the Croatian Film Fund. When we were pitching the movie, we showed them some shots from Rovinj we did, and they said, yeah, we are filming in Croatia, don't you want money? And I said, yeah, warum nicht? And they were really very good partners that came at the end of the movie when you are really, really very need the money. So basically the financing was very standard. We had small problems in Slovak television for the TV version. They couldn't broadcast. There is a part when they are making fun of our president, and they couldn't broadcast it even we're not using the name. It's also in the cinema version. We don't know who they are speaking about. Yeah, but it was a previous communist president, but our nowadays communist president, his name is beeped out. And the lawyers of the television said that we cannot use it because the president can sue us, because from the content what we are speaking about, that is a communist idiot, everybody will know that it's Mr. Gašparović, our president. So, in the Slovak TV version there is 3 minutes quiet with a title. In this part the protagonists are making fun on
of the institutional
members of constitutional institutions. So it's not named that it's premier, president, whoever. They are making fun, and it's a silent. They are opening the mouth. So this was the problem we had with Slovak television, but otherwise we were free. We are a country without censorship.
We've no time for one question more, because we are close to the next screening. So we have one last question, please.
Good evening, thank you very much for the film. The idea of bombing the commercial in the end, was it coming from the girl or was it coming from you? And second question, the dialogues were then totally improvised, right? Okay. Thank you again.
Yeah, it came out like it was both, because we wanted to we asked them what they would explode nowadays, because these small communist vitrines, they are not exist anymore. So they said, yeah, a billboard. Just the thing was that Vladimir wanted to explode a political billboard, and we were much more insisting to explode something like general commercial, happy life, which is the same bullshit basically, like we had during the communist times. And yeah, the dialogues were completely improvised. So they had a topic, like when they are sitting in a kitchen, I said because Vladimir had a nice text speaking about the food, that it's not, when you are in a prison, you have to survive the bad food also, because it's kind of part of the torture. So you have to be prepared for it. And I said, wow, it will be a wonderful scene, like the old man cooking to a young girl shitty food, and they will speak together. And it was like an idea, like, okay,